name's Hannah Godfrey, and I'm interviewing the most amazing girl, Katie Hill. She's just absolutely incredible, and she has set up an amazing business. She's also the blogger of The Diary of a Bald Girl, which is just hilarious. For those of you that are my subscribers, I can't even say it, subscribers, you will have seen a lot of her stuff already. I've already had lots of messages of people saying how hilarious she is, but we're here today to kind of hear all about her story and how she set up such an incredible wig business, and just to hear all about you, really. So Katie, tell us a little bit about your story. So tell us about, let's go back to right to the beginning. You know, when did you realise that you had alopecia, and what is alopecia for anyone that's watching today?
Oh, well, to start off, alopecia, it's an autoimmune disease that causes your body to reject the growth of hair. So, as you can see on me, I've got no hair, so my eyelashes and eyebrows are also not real. So there's 3 different stages, which alopecia universalis, which is the version that I have, means that you have no body hair whatsoever. Just answer that question before I get that one in. And it does come in alopecia areata as well, which is just like tiny little patches, which is what mine initially started as.
Right, okay. And what causes alopecia?
And they have absolutely no idea. Like, it's a bit of a common misconception that it's stress, because because it's autoimmune, stress is not really related to it. Like, stress could cause people to flare up. But for me, my alopecia started at 3 years old, so I don't think I was really worrying about bills and kids and stuff.
Yeah, so you actually had it at 3 then, so you were quite young then when you got it.
Yeah, as a little baby.
Amazing. So have you had alopecia all of your life, or did you get hair, or?
Well, I had it from being really, really small. My mum said that she took me to the doctors when I was a baby for something unrelated, and then they just said that I'd got alopecia at the back, and my mum just thought it was like cradle cap where I'd rubbed my head in my cot.
Yeah.
But then I lost a lot of hair, but when I was in nursery. I remember on my nursery photo, there's this awful picture of me, and they've got these loads of little bald patches and this really spiky hair, and my Spice Girls headband.
Oh, that's pretty cool though.
Mama Jules was we tried to talk you out of it, but it's you wanted to wear it. So.
I can't believe they tried to talk you out of it.
It was a cool fashion move, wasn't it? Yeah. Fashion forward.
So you had it when you were younger, then what happened? Because obviously as you become a teenager, appearance is kind of a big thing. So, you know, was that hard for you? And how old were you when it you realised? And tell us a little bit what happened.
Well, from being in nursery all the way through to the very end of secondary school, I didn't have it at all. So it was just a bit of a thing that I obviously knew I had in the past and I'd seen it on photographs.
Yeah.
But I never really thought it would affect me again. And then I was doing a rehearsal or something for a dance show, and one of the girls pointed out that I was missing a bit of hair at the back. But I think I just brushed it off and said it was chewing gum stuck in my hair or something like that, and then ran home mortified to my mom.
Yeah.
And then from there it seemed to get progressively worse. And then must have been I was 13, 14, and I had just the tiny patches for years and years, nothing else. They just got more annoying. I'd be oh, I really want a middle parting, and then obviously I'd just get a big massive bald patch in the middle parting. So we'll go for a side parting, and then it'll just do it there.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like that, but it would always fall out in one place and grow back in another. So it was just part of being a teenager for me, spending half my life concealing bald patches with any means necessary, vile, cheap extensions from
really?
market.
So did you kind of get to a point where you were I'm sick of this, I'm just going to go bald, and shaved it all off, or how did you kind of get to that point?
Well, after I met my boyfriend, this is such an awkward coincidence. Within the probably about 5 or 6 weeks when we were first seeing each other, the proper nice datey stage as well, where you want to get dressed up and just go out for dinner and you do all the nice stuff. It just started falling out horrifically, all the time, blocking the bloody sink. It would get in the Hoover, it would be on my bed, I'd wake up and my white bedding would I'd got a black dog slept in there.
Oh no.
It was matting into itself, and by then I thought, do you know what, I'm literally spending more time picking hair up than anything else.
Yeah.
To go.
So what was his response? Were you
I was like,
embarrassed? Were you scared what he
he's
was
a
going to think?
complete babe, so I don't think he would have told me anyway. But like, to be honest, I told him that it was happening from the start. Like, obviously, like in a banter way, it's hilarious. But like, I think there was like the awkward moment, like when he went to knock my wig off, like right at the beginning as well. That was dead nice, and I think that probably broke the ice. I mean, like knocking like the girl you see's wig off is probably as bad as it can get, isn't it?
And was that like a hilarious moment? Like that was a moment where you thought, do you know what? This is the guy for me. If he can joke around,
we're still together. Like, I think we kind of both did this like awkward like eyes of. So we don't really quite know if someone's going to be all right about that. And I was just like, ta-da! But it was fine. Like, you did find it funny, but it's just not how you want to break news, is it? Like, oh, here you go.
But you're actually like a naturally, I think, pretty person. So, I mean, I would look horrendous with no hair. And I think that, you know, some people really do get away with it, even as a fashion thing. I mean, like, you look amazing now. Do you think it takes a certain egghead to kind of pull it off?
Oh, you've been reading my blog.
I have been reading your blog.
I think, like, there's such thing as a fortunate shaped head, and I don't think that I have got that.
Yeah, because you know what I mean. You can have bumps and all kind of.
Well, I've got like 2 little bits down the side, and like, because I'm a nurse, people always say like, "Oh, is that where they use the forceps?" And I was like, "No, that's just my head." It was naturally born.
How do patients? Because obviously you mentioned that you're a nurse. Are you whereabouts are you a nurse at?
Well, I'm due to start very, very soon as a palliative care nurse.
Amazing.
So quite a lot of the people I look after have got cancer, and quite a lot of them, we share a hairstyle. So, I mean, instant bonding.
Yeah. And how do your patients react to that? Because I think if you're not so well, you must kind of be like, oh, do you ever get asked if you've got cancer?
Every day, at least once.
Really?
That's just Nathan. No, definitely. Like, people are just a bit cheeky, I think. Like, even as a nurse, I go up to my like patients and be like, "Hi, morning. Have you got cancer?" Yeah. Like, it's just a weird question, isn't it? And I think, like, the thing that annoys me when people ask is just that no matter the response, like, it's gonna be uncomfortable. Yeah. Like, I say no, and they go, "Oh, I'm sorry I asked." And then I'm sure if I said yeah, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry I asked." Like,
what do they want from that? Yeah.
Like, you're not going to at least like buy me a coffee or something before you like ask me if I've got cancer.
Yeah. Has any like what's your experience like when walking out in the streets? Have you had any bad experiences? Is there any times when you've been really upset? And because I can imagine like it's not a normal thing you see every day. It's not something that you see. And I think that's the problem, is that a lot of the time people spend so much time hiding their differences that actually if we expose differences, then people might... So, and which you do walk around without a wig on and with wigs on. So, you know, what's the kind of worst experience you've had?
I feel like you just like worded like my exact thoughts. Then they were like, I try and be bold in public, like even if people think that's at my own expense, like in the hope that it would stop somebody from asking somebody else. Because like I feel like I'm at a point now, like in my life and like with my alopecia, whereas I quite like to talk about it. Like I feel like I'm doing something good. Like I feel like I'm like getting a point across and like educating people on something that they probably have like never heard of.
Yeah.
And like, people can be really rude, and like people have said some really, really awful things to me. But I think it's mostly like due to like ignorance or like a lack of understanding. Whereas like asking the question like really doesn't bother me, but I know that some people probably don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, because that's the other thing, is I know a lot of people that wouldn't say anything, that would want to know, but and maybe just feel awkward about asking, or don't want to upset or say anything. And you know, I read a blog about an actual dad who was really upset because his young son has, I think it was autism or it might have been Down syndrome, and because another boy was asking what it was and another dad was trying to explain it, you know, How is there any children that have asked what it is? And because children are
Right,
inquisitive.
my favourite little story ever. Like, kids normally, like, they'll just say things like, oh my god, mum, there's a bald girl. Or, mum, is that a boy or a girl? And I'm like, oh, like, that stings, that one. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, the boy or the girl one, I'm like, oh. Like, there's a bald girl, like, yeah. Like, that is what I am. And I think, especially when parents, like, get upset about that, I'm like, honestly, it's fine. Like, maybe you should teach your kids they don't need to, like, announce everything. But, like, I am a bald woman. Like, it's not an insult to call me a bald woman.
Yeah.
But my favourite one, there was a gorgeous, gorgeous little girl in a Disney shop in Meadowhall in Sheffield. And I was, like, shopping with my boyfriend, and I was just, like, looking around on my own, and they could see this little girl was dying to talk to me. And her mum just didn't want her to. She could tell, like, she must have been one of those little girls who speaks to anyone.
Yeah.
And then this little girl said to me, are you a princess? So I said, oh, no, I'm not a princess. And she went, why? You can still be one.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh, okay. And then the mum was like, she means because you've got no hair. She was like, she's been dying to meet you because she wanted to meet a princess with no hair. I was like,
oh my god, that's amazing.
The cutest little girl. And you can, we're like proper adamant, you can still be one. I was like, yeah.
And that's the best thing about kids is I think they're so much more open than adults. Like, adults do assume certain things, and you're living a life perfectly without hair. Really, I absolutely love how your eyebrows are on point. So, do you get your eyebrows done?
I did get them tattooed like a couple of years ago. But to be fair, I'm just drawing them on now, just with pencil. It's like a freehand job. I feel like I could make a living from just drawing eyebrows.
Yeah, you really could. Like, I mean, you definitely need to do a YouTube video about that. It's always when you do one too big. Yeah. And also, have you got eyelashes?
No, I don't have anything on at the minute either. So this is just my liquid eyeliner trick for life.
Oh.
Because I find that if I don't wear makeup, that's when people ask me if I'm ill.
Oh, nice.
I was like, oh no, I just like Voldemort every day.
So, what made you go, right, I'm a nurse, I'm helping a lot of other people. You've got loads of ideas and business ideas. What made you say, right, I know what I want to do. I want to create a wig business?
Well, it was literally my first year of nursing. I'm like, for the record, I'm one of those people who, if I'm not like completely busy to the point of mental breakdown, then I'm just not content with my life. So obviously, like doing a degree and like working as a carer in a nursing home and like having a boyfriend and a house and all of these things just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
I was looking for wigs for myself, and like I really like quirky colours, and like I've always done like wild things with my hair, which everyone takes the mick and says probably why I'm bald. But like there was like nowhere in the market where you could buy something in between like a fancy dress shop wig and like a masterpiece. Like,
yeah.
And I know like myself and a lot of other girls, like, well, and boys, I get a lot of both, male customers actually, but they want a wig like that's good enough to look real, but that doesn't cost like £500. And I'm not claiming whatsoever that the wigs from my company are of the quality of those. Like they're really not, but we're a middle ground, so you can have like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, because a lot of the time, I mean, when I met you, I totally didn't know you had a wig on. I think you had to tell me that you had alopecia. And I was like, what? And I was like, no way. And you were like, yeah, look at the different colours hair I've had this week. And I was like, oh my God, I'm kind of like kind of wishing that I could wear wigs. Because the amount of different...
Like, don't say anything. And then somebody says like, oh my God, I love your hair. How did you get that colour? And I'm like, oh, I'm just a very good liar.
Yeah.
And like, I like... went to the hair. I'm like, oh, it's a wig.
So, like, obviously you've got incredible colours and it looks amazing on you, but they look real. And I noticed that obviously when you are out and about, you can spot a bad wig. And it was that kind of your inspiration that you wanted them to look real, that people could wear them and feel comfortable with them.
Yeah, and I wanted to make it, like, affordable. Like, I know when I went and looked for wigs when I first lost my hair, like, I was desperate to find something, like, that was like the same colour and exactly the same as like the hair I had before, because
Yeah.
I felt like people had like talked me into this thing where you needed to conceal it, and like I needed to pretend that I didn't have alopecia to the world. Like I needed to cover it up with hair that looked exactly like it did before, so nobody'd ever know anything.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where I was getting really down about it, and I think my whole like outlook changed when I just thought, do you know what? Like I'm not doing this. Like.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell everybody, I'm going to shave my head, and I'm just going to get it over and done with. I put it on Facebook, which is not really like me. I don't tend to put like private things on, but I thought it's the easiest way to get it out to everyone all at one go.
Yeah.
And then just bought loads of wild wigs.
Amazing. So tell me about your wigs. What's your favourite wigs? Have you got some there to show us?
Well, this is a little bit creepy. This is normally hanging on the back of my bathroom door, so I have to show you around my front room here. I've brought it downstairs, like Nathan hates this. But this is my towel rail that I use just to keep wigs on.
Amazing. I love it.
Like, I think it was about like 9 wigs on there, which is just my wigs like at the minute wigs.
Okay, at the minute wigs.
Which is shocking, isn't it? There's also like 2 in the bathroom as well, which are like mid-wash, so I've probably got about 10, 11.
So as you're showing us these wigs, tell us what are the funny, you know, I've already shared some of the top 10 awkward moments for Diary of a Bald Girl in my subscription to the emailers, or email to subscribers, should I say. Tell us some of your top 10 awkward moments.
Oh God, well I think that Nathan knocking my wig off is probably like got to be one of the top ones, hasn't it? Like that's pretty awkward. Or like so I hold them up at the same time. I got my hair closed into a window once, and obviously I can't feel it, so I did not know. So like I literally sat with like my wig and like a bit stuck in a window. It was like on the bus as well, so like someone closed my hair into the window. I just stood.
You didn't even know.
It's so bad, isn't it? Like my friends are like so mean for it as well. Like, they let me walk around with like eyelashes stuck in my hair.
Oh, great!
And it's just so much as well, you know, like because they're quite thick, and obviously because I'm not used to hair, like I've got this like freedom. Yeah. I kind of like dip them in and stuff. Like I'm just a really bad hair person. I just don't pay attention. Like I'm just sat there and I'm like, oh.
And has it ever come off on a windy day?
No, but it's probably been pretty close. Could you imagine, like, chasing your wig down the street like a tumbleweed? But, like, literally, as soon as it gets windy, I'm like this. I pull it right down to the brows.
So what's this one called that you've got in your hand?
This is one of my new ones. It's just called Nude.
Nude.
But you can't really tell from here, but it's, like, actually, like, a blushy pink colour.
Yeah, I can tell it's blushy pink, yeah.
It's quite natural for me.
Yeah.
Like, I worked bank shift the other day in the hospital, and I wore this one, and my old manager was like, I like that you've toned your hair down now you're qualified, and I was like, yep, yeah I have.
Okay.
I was like, it's bad when people class like pink as your toned down hair, isn't it?
Yeah. So show us one of your other ones.
We've got, this is how many I've got, just fell over then, did you get that? That was good.
Yeah.
This one is like literally a big curly black one. So this is, I'm just like, whip my jewel off my head.
Your jewel. See, this is amazing. Like, you could get up at any day. How do you feel today? And wear whatever colour you want.
Yeah. So this is my Esmeralda.
Oh, nice. I like that
It's a bit
one.
busy, really, isn't it? But that's because I'm a bad mother. So I've just sort of chucked them on the back of the door.
That one's nice. That one's quite mermaid-esque, isn't it?
It's very dark, isn't it?
Yeah. I like the grey one.
The grey ones are good, aren't they? The purple.
Oh, is it purple? Yeah.
This one, yeah, but I do have a grey one as well.
Is
Yeah, this is like a bit of a mess at the minute because this is my next one to be straightened.
Okay, and what's that one called?
The stages of hair.
Yeah.
This is like my wild ratty purple one at the minute.
So, and what's this one called?
That one's called Dahlia. Like the
Dahlia.
Dahlia murder.
So where'd you get all the names from?
To be fair, like I just like look at it and like come up with something. But when I'm really struggling, I like tend to ask my Instagram followers who are like way better at it than I am. Like, I look at something and think, oh yeah, that's a nice name, and then I ask them what they think, and people come up with like amazing things, like with like relatable as well, like to the colour and stuff. Like, they're just so much more like on it than I am.
Amazing. So, what's your purpose now? What do you want to achieve? Like, you've got your wig. Is it a website that people can go? They can buy wigs. They can also be added to your private group, so that they can interact. You also, how do you look after your hair? Like, how do you wash them? What do you wash them in? What do you do with like your scalp? Like all that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm actually posting a video on my YouTube channel, which I'll post a little link underneath, and I'll link this video onto that so people can like watch between the two of them. But I actually use like an aloe shampoo, which I would literally swear by. I've not used anything else like for the last year, because it's a normal hair shampoo, so you could use it on like a human hair wig, your own hair extensions, or the synthetic wigs like what I make, and it's just really, really good at getting product out. Like, a lot of people tell you not to put product on wigs, but I just think, like, I'm young, like, I want wild hair. Like, sometimes you just need a backcomb and a hairspray, don't you? Like, that's what shampoo's for. Yeah. So I wash them in that and soak them in the bath normally, and you just have to be really careful to, like, make sure the hair all goes down in the same direction. You don't, like, rub it as you would normal hair, because it would tangle it up.
Yeah.
Rinse that off, and then I leave them to soak for hours in like fabric conditioner, like just what you would use like on your washing machine, which is probably really weird, but like the synthetic fibres in the hair just react better to a fabric conditioner than they do to a human hair conditioner.
And why don't you use human hair?
Well, for me, this is a little bit of a touchy subject for some people, but I find that number one, the synthetic hair is cheaper, and I think now the technology is so good that you can pretty much mimic like the behaviours of human hair. Yeah. And I feel like for the price, I could get like 3, 4, 5 even like synthetic wigs for the price of a human hair wig, and you just never quite know where like the hair is coming from, and it's a bit of a weird thought, but like it kind of creeps me out a little bit. Like, I definitely think that human hair like has its purpose and it's great for some things. And some people who especially really need to recreate their own hairstyle, like they do need human hair for that. But for me, I just think it's kind of weird, the thought of wearing
someone else's hair
made of someone else's hair.
And also, what do you do for like? Do you obviously like you don't wear a net because you've got no hair to.
Oh no, I do. I still wear that. I've got one in here actually. I'll try it on for you. It looks really nice. But this is a bamboo cap.
Right.
So these are also available on my website, and they're recommended for people going through chemotherapy. It's just a really, really soft material cap, and you just pop it on underneath the wig.
Is that to stop it itching, or?
So yeah, it's literally like a little
cap.
Super soft swimming cap.
I love it.
This is like what I tend to look like at home, like all the time.
You're like testing out all your wigs.
Yeah, that's it. Just walking around in this, it feels really soft. And then I use like an aloe vera gel. I put it literally just there where you can probably see where the line is. In my head a bit. Yeah. And it just works really well as like a soothing cream, and then like a bit of a barrier as well. Because the lace on the wigs, I don't know if it'll show you this enough.
Oh yeah.
But for it to look real, it needs to have gaps in, so it's like quite textured. And although it's not uncomfortable, but like I just feel like my skin like needs protecting from something that's a bit like bumpy all day.
Yeah. So if there's anybody watching today who maybe has alopecia or going through patches, or is going through that stage where I just want to whip it off, what would you say to them? And knowing that you've been in that position, what's your advice?
Well, I found for me that the best thing I ever did was shave my head, which I was absolutely dreading, and I thought that would have like been the worst outcome. And I think that's probably why it made me feel better, because I was like going to bed every night like this young 15-year-old thinking, oh, I might wake up with no hair tomorrow. And then by the time I'd shaved it off, it was like, oh, I can't lose any more hair by tomorrow, can I? It's just gone.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely think, like, it takes time to get used to, and I think you need to come to terms with it yourself. Like, I'm part of quite a lot of the support groups on Facebook, and it's really sad to read that there's, like, women who are, like, 20, 30 years older than me, who've had alopecia their whole life, and they're just really struggling with it, like, on a body image kind of front, I suppose. Like, people feel like they've really been robbed of something, and I suppose you need to grieve that. Like, you do need to be sad about things. Like, some days I do wake up and think, oh, I wish I could just whip my hair into a top knot and look like everybody else. Yeah. But then other days I think, do you know what? Like, I want to match my wig to my head, my wig to my hair, my wig to my outfit today.
Yeah, that's amazing. And like, we were joking just before we came online, weren't we? About, I was like, oh, my hair's so sweaty to do this video. I've like not even washed it. I've had to quickly dry it. And I was like, what do you do? And I was like, and you were like, I just don't wear a wig to the gym.
Oh, man, like, everybody forgets. Like, people forget all the time. Like, I remember my mum bought me these gorgeous stocking fillers last year of some, like, little Tony and Guy minis. I was like, what am I going to do with that, Mum? Like, wash my toe hair.
And, like, for you, like, I said to you, I was like, does your head sweat? Like, does it...
I'm such a creature. Like, describe my head as the Lynx advert. Take my wig off and just pours out. I just think that's because I'm exercising harder. Like, yeah. I think everybody else, like people look at it in the gym. I just think, well, they're only looking at me because, like, I'm such an exercise warrior. Like, my body is.
So, do you still get burnt and things? Like, is it you've still got to protect your head?
Oh God, yeah. This is my thing. Like, in the past year, like, I've definitely got way more confident and stopped wearing a wig to, like, quite a lot of things. Like, I love both. Like, I do love wearing a wig. I love the glamour of having hair and, like, getting to play with it, change it up. But for some things, like, I love live music. I love festivals. And I found that, like, I'd hold myself back from, like, having a good dance or getting towards the front. Because to me, the idea of having my wig pulled off is so embarrassing. Like, the idea of not having a wig is fine, and the idea of having a wig is fine. But the idea of, like, chasing a wig around a mosh pit, it's, like, just literally what I don't want to do in my Leeds Fest. Like, picking it up, just, like, trampled and covered in, like, God knows what. So, this year I went without a wig. I must have only had my wig off for a couple of hours and literally just had, like, the reddest little hat. I looked like I'd worn, like, a visor, is it? Like a poker hat.
Yeah. So you still have to use, obviously, your sun creams, and you can use your jelly on that as well to take the sunburn out.
So yeah, so no matter how cocky, like, I think I can, and, like, I'm so olive skinned, like, factor 50, and then aloe vera gel as, like, an after sun is, like, 100% a must. Like, no matter how brown I think I am, like, I do burn like a crisp, like a baked potato half the year.
Oh God! So you actually joke so much on your blog, and this is why I love you. This is why you've got so many followers, because you don't take life too seriously. And I think the fact that you can joke around, people feel like they can joke around with you as well. You talk about your friends, like, rubbing it up as almost a good luck charm, like a
little butter friend.
Yeah. You talk about being called a light bulb, and, like, just having a big play around with how, like, not taking life too seriously. And I think maybe everyone can take a little bit of a leaf out of your book and, you know, kind of chill out about things and not be so stressed about it. And, you know, if you do meet somebody in the street that looks a little bit different, then, you know, maybe smile and, you know, engage in conversation rather than fear to speak to them.
Well, I think a big turning point for me, like, I used to get so bothered by people staring at me, and, like, you can imagine, like, one person staring at you, it's fine, isn't it? But when it's, like, 50, 60 people, like, in one day, like, really walk past and have a go up, like, it gets a little bit weird. But I was driving back from a shift in the hospital one night, and I was in traffic, and I looked at the car, like, beside me, and there was a man driving, and he'd got, like a robotic arm, like, I know that's not the word, but, like, he'd got it with, like, exposed metal. Like, it wasn't a prosthetic arm that looked like prosthetic. It looked like really metal. It got loads of, like, nuts and bolts and stuff. And I thought it was so cool. I felt like, what a cool way to, like, rock that. Really, like, it was, like, a really fit looking guy. Sorry, Nathan. He'd got, like, big beard, like, tattoos, and then he just got this, like, metal arm, and it just looked cool and it fitted his personality, and I was like in awe of how like great this man was. And then I thought, somebody beeped at me. I thought, oh my god, I've just missed a traffic light because I'm so busy staring at that man for something like that is different about him.
Yeah.
And I thought, I was admiring what this man was like. Like, I thought he was cool, and I missed the traffic light. And like, then I thought, that's how I'm going to imagine that people are looking at me.
And they probably do as well. Like, probably people will look at you and think, wow, I wish I had that confidence. I wish, you know, even if they do have hair, they've probably not got the confidence. But they can go to your blog and get a lot of information and a lot of support, and the group. They can buy any wigs. So Halloween's coming up. If anyone needs any wigs for Halloween.
Yeah, that's it. If you want to like look a little bit more than fancy dress shop, if you want a wig you can wear again.
Yeah. And also, if anyone is suffering from, no matter what it is, whether it is alopecia or chemo or anything else that's going on, get in touch, because we'd love to hear from you. But thank you so much for doing today's interview. We're going to post up all the links, so anybody who's watching today that's loved the interview, because I have, you know, please do go over to the links. Please go over to the blog and check it out, and have a look at, you know, some of the wigs and how amazing they are. They are literally so cool. And also check you out on Instagram. So what's your Instagram name?
It's at Zella Rose Wigs.
Perfect. Thank you so much for today, and you know, hopefully we'll get you on again soon and hear how you're getting on, like maybe in 12 months' time.
Yeah, I definitely look forward to it.
Okay, thank you.